Welcome to the online training for the Integrated Monarch Monitoring Program, or the IMMP. The IMMP is a program to collect data on monarch butterflies and their habitats across their North American breeding range. The IMMP was developed by a group called the Monarch Conservation Science Partnership. This group consists of researchers from state and federal governments, academia, and the Monarch Joint Venture Partnership. The data will be used by a variety of conservation professionals and researchers to advance our understanding of monarchs and their habitats, to set conservation objectives, and to monitor progress. In this video, you will learn about the history of the Integrated Monarch Monitoring Program along with its goals and objectives. We are really excited to have you join in this effort. The Monarch Joint Venture is a national partnership of federal and state agencies, NGOs, businesses, and academic programs working together to conserve the monarch butterfly migration. Specifically, these groups work to implement science-based conservation actions in the form of education, habitat, and research. The MJV staff has taken the lead on implementing the IMMP throughout the North American breeding range. The Integrated Monarch Monitoring Program is a national initiative designed to monitor both monarchs and their habitats in order to better inform conservation efforts and to compare habitat and habitat use by monarchs across different land types. These land types were selected based on a 2017 study by Wayne Thogmartin and his colleagues, which we discussed previously in the Monarch Biology and Conservation video. The land types include grasslands, developed areas, agricultural sites, rights-of-way, and conservation lands, all of which have the potential of supporting both monarchs and their habitat. You might be familiar with some of the existing monarch monitoring programs. These have made huge contributions to our understanding of monarch biology and have engaged thousands of people in monarch conservation and citizen science. Data are typically collected from high-quality areas such as gardens, and they are also typically clustered around places where people are, which is not actually representative of monarch habitat nationwide. These data are also not representative of all land types that support monarch habitat. To improve this data set, we need to target random sites that are more geographically distributed and distributed across different types of land. The Integrated Monarch Monitoring Program evaluates both monarchs and their habitats while targeting randomly selected areas to get an unbiased assessment of habitat nationwide. It builds from these existing citizen science programs so that the data are compatible and aims to also sample the 5 different land types that Thogmartin and his colleagues identified as supporting monarchs and their habitat. The IMMP has 3 primary objectives. First, it aims to track long-term changes in the distribution and abundance of monarchs and their habitats, to provide information that is both geographically and ecologically representative in order to update population and habitat models, and to acquire and share information about how habitat conservation efforts affect monarchs and their habitats. The IMMP offers a variety of tools for its users in order to achieve these objectives. It provides standardized, scientifically robust data collection protocols that have been tested and refined. It also allows users to collect data electronically on a tablet or phone, or on paper datasheets which are entered through an online computer platform later on. The IMMP also provides both online and in-person training and an interactive map for selecting and tracking monitoring. One of the IMMP's biggest strengths is in its random sampling design. In order to meet the objective of providing representative data, we need to collect data from randomly selected sites across different land types. The IMMP picked sampling locations that are random, but also spatially balanced across the breeding range. The IMP has used a 10 by 10 kilometer grid of squares across the contiguous US, each of which is numbered. The squares with the lowest numbers are given the highest priority for monitoring. This is all done by a computer and is just a way to generate random sampling locations. We are prioritizing monitoring within the high-ranked squares, which we're calling monarch blocks. You can see the monarch blocks outlined here in red and orange. Within each block, there's a second stage of sampling. For each land use type, there are randomly numbered point locations that direct you where to sample in each block. As you can see in this monarch block, there are points for each land type, such as grasslands, agriculture, rights-of-way, and developed sites. In the western population range, the random points are instead distributed according to a milkweed suitability model. The random points in each block are instead classified across levels of suitability for milkweed, such as high, medium, or low suitability. Although we would like to prioritize monitoring in these random locations, we are also interested in collecting data from known conservation sites. Part of effectively conserving a species and its habitats is evaluating the conservation efforts currently underway and working to improve them. The IMMP intends to use conservation sites to evaluate conservation practices and better inform future efforts. As we mentioned previously, the IMMP is designed to collect data about both monarchs and habitat. Therefore, we're interested in monitoring all stages of monarchs, milkweed, blooming nectar plants, and broader habitat characteristics. To accomplish this, the IMMP has 4 optional activities designed to meet the program objectives. Participants may select the activities that are most interesting to them or those that meet their information needs. Now we will briefly discuss each of the 4 activities. We will cover each activity in detail in the following training videos. Activity 1 is a vegetation survey to measure the monarch habitat at a site, including milkweed and blooming plants. This activity takes 1 to 3 hours to complete on average, depending on the characteristics of your site. We recommend conducting Activity 1 once per month at the time in which monarchs are present in your region in order to capture a full list of blooming plants at a site. Activity 2 is a survey to measure the density of monarch eggs and caterpillars at a site. This involves examining milkweed plants and takes about 1 hour to complete on average, again depending on the vegetation characteristics at your site. This activity should be done weekly in order to understand the survival of eggs and larvae, but data are also accepted when taken at less frequent intervals. The third activity measures the abundance of adult monarchs. The activity involves walking through a monitoring site while recording adults observed and their corresponding behaviors. This activity takes about 30 minutes to conduct and should be done every other week while monarchs are present in the area. Lastly, participants of Activity 4 collect 4th and 5th instar larvae from their monitoring site and rear them indoors to track survival and parasitism rates. Again, you can find detailed instructions on how to conduct each activity in the training video for that activity. The IMMP is designed to sample various types of habitats or site types that are known to support monarch breeding habitat. The first site type is protected grassland, which includes grassland, savanna, and shrubland that are protected under public designation or a private easement. For instance, this could include state forest areas, state parks, U.S. Fish and Wildlife refuges, national parks, or a private conservation easement. Unclassified or unprotected grasslands are therefore the same types of land, but without any known easement. Agriculture includes 2 types of habitats, crop fields and edges. When monitoring an agricultural site, we collect data in both the crop field and edge, both of which have the potential of supporting monarchs and their habitat. Agricultural conservation lands include agricultural land that is enrolled in conservation easements such as the Conservation Reserve Program, Wildlife Habitat Incentive Programs, or others. We do not have a complete list of these sites because the information is most often private and unavailable to the public. Though we cannot specifically pick these sites out, we are still interested in monitoring these. A site may be listed as an unprotected grassland in the mapping application, but on contact with the landowner, you may find that the site is enrolled in the Conservation Reserve Program. If this is the case, you would then relabel the point as being agricultural conservation land in the verified site type data field on the site description form. This is described further in the site description video. Additionally, landowners or managers may select their own agricultural conservation lands for IMMP monitoring and label them as so. Rights of way include roadsides, railways, and transmission or power lines. Developed areas include open park areas, vacant lots, or other areas within urban or suburban spaces. We see program implementation as a three-part system. The Monarch Joint Venture provides national leadership for the program, serving protocols, training, and resources to participants. Local and state coordinators can participate by recruiting and managing volunteers or integrating the IMMP into their own organization. Lastly, we need a crew of local monitors in various localities to collect the very valuable data outlined in each activity. It is very important for the success of the program to have implementation at all three levels. No one part can do it on their own. Congratulations on completing the IMMP Overview online training. You can find all additional training materials at the website shown here, or you may contact Monarch Joint Venture staff with specific questions at the email address listed below. You should now continue to the site selection video to select a monitoring site. Thank you and happy monitoring.